Good evening, boys and girls. Our Sunday school reading this week is called The Feast That Almost Flopped. It's about Jesus' first miracle. Everybody's looking happy because it's going to be a wedding. The whole town of Cana was happy and bustling. The day of the wedding had finally arrived. At Barnabas' house, the musicians were waiting, and Barnabas watched them. His chest swelled with pride. Look at him, so happy that we're going to have this wedding. For here at his house would the wedding take place, a feast such as never before been held. For weeks, Mrs. Barnabas cooked and cleaned house till everything sparkled, and how it smelled. See all this beautiful food down here? Inside, the bride, Rachel, was fixing her hair and adjusting her veil just ever so slightly. Here's Rachel. Outside, the groom, Daniel, was chewing his beard while butterflies danced and flowers smiled brightly. So here's Joseph. He's going to marry Rachel. And everybody's happy that they're getting married, see? Really happy people. At last, the big garden was brimming with guests, all dancing and singing a wedding day tune, and gobbling up goodies and gulping down wine and oohing and awing the bride and the groom. Oh, look who's here. Jesus. And there's Mary, his mother. You can always spot her. She wears blue. Now, Jesus, his mother, and several disciples were there having fun with the rest of the guests. I'm so glad that they've come, for they're really quite special, said Barnabas proudly, his thumbs on his chest. You see, Mrs. B, I'm the best host in Cana. At wedding feast giving, the first prize is mine. Then up ran a servant, all trembling and panting. Oh, Barnabas, sir, we've just ran out of wine. We got nothing to drink. Now, this was a serious turn of events. To run out of wine would mean total disgrace. I boasted too much and I planned not enough, moaned Barnabas, beads of sweat dotting his face. Look, Jesus, cried Mary, who had heard the whole thing. They've run out of wine. That poor man looks sick. A miracle would be easy for you. Please, Jesus, make Barnabas more wine. And quick. Jesus looked at his mother and said very sternly, My Father's plan must come first, mother, not you. Then he turned and saw Rachel and Daniel so happy and knew that his father would want him to do. Go fill these 6 jugs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, with fresh water, said Jesus. The servants ran quickly to do what he said. Then dip out a cup, and to Barnabas hurried. He stood in the corner, still mopping his head. He took just a sip and beamed with pleasure. Why, this is the best wine I've tasted all year. The groom must have brought it. Now tell the truth, said Daniel. When did you sneak in and leave this wine here? Daniel just stood there and hugged Rachel tighter. I didn't do it, he said with a grin. The servants all know, though, and they did their tongues flutter. 'Twas Jesus who did it. The wine came from him. And soon all the garden was buzzing with whispers. This Jesus is God's Son, a good friend and mighty. They thanked him and praised him and then went on feasting. while butterflies danced and the flowers smiled brightly. That's Jesus' first miracle. He turned water into wine.